There. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope you're doing well. What I plan on doing on this is just hanging around. So if anybody wants to say hello, they can do. Pop up and say hello. So I've got my drink here. My drink of choice. So cheers. Lovely bit of Captain Morgan's Rum and Coke. My favourite thing. So I hope everybody had a good Christmas and got everything they wanted. I had a very nice, quiet, relaxing Christmas, which is nice. Spent time with the wife. It's even nicer. She cooked an absolutely cracking Christmas meal yesterday. We had roast turkey with sprouts and roast potatoes, and I had parsnips and runner beans. What did she have? She had the same thing, but without the parsnips. She didn't like parsnips, so she just had sprouts and runner beans and a little bit of turkey, but huge Yorkshires, and it was just gorgeous. I even said to it how lovely it was, you know. So I hope you all got everything you wanted. I got something which was quite nice, which I'm not going to turn the camera around now, but I've got a massive studio light now, which means I'm now lit up properly. Whereas before I wasn't lit up at all, so and it wasn't that good. But now this is a proper photographer's light, and it comes with a remote control, so I can adjust the settings on it. For example, there you go. I'm at full blast now on a warm colour, but I can go to white. Oh my god, that's incredibly bright. So let's bring it down. Bring it down to about 20%. There, that's much better. And look a bit, got a bit more colour with me this time. Whereas I've noticed before when I do these videos, sometimes the colour goes and I look white as a ghost. So a couple of things happened just before Christmas. First is that I went and spent a bit of money, and as I said, I'd already bought the mic and I've already tested it out, so it's working perfectly. I also thought that I was talking about the Torchwood figures, and I said that I'd have to reorder another Captain Jack. Well, I wasn't sure whether Sci-Fi Collectors still had any left, so I put in an order for one, and lo and behold, within about 3 or 4 days, it's going to lean over here. You probably can't see it there. It's that light. It's right in the light, and that you can see the squareness of the light there at the back. It's not square; it's a rectangle. But no, behold, there he is. He's turned up. So I've got another Captain Jack that I'm going to leave in the packet this time, because the other one has got a chip on its neck. So I thought I'd leave that in its case. And yeah, that turned up £11. That was for the figure. So they've still got loads left if people want them. So what's happening tonight? Well, I've got my favourite Doctor Who hoodie on tonight. You probably can't see because it's white. No, you can't see it. It's signed here on this window. One of the first Doctor's companions signed it, Annika Wills. I did in 2015, just before I left the Armed Forces. My retirement present was I went to the Birmingham Comic Con in the NEC, and she was there along with Wendy Padbury. And I explained that this was my retirement present because I was just about to retire from the armed forces. And the first thing they did was they both gave me a massive hug each. They both came up and gave me a hug. And then Annika went, "Oh, I love your top. I've never seen that before. Let me sign it." So she did basically. She took out a Sharpie and signed it in the little white box. So as well as give me that was a bit of a freebie. So I said to her, "I hope I'm not going to have to pay for that one." She said, "No, let me sign it for you." So she signed it. So talking about that in my retirement present, because I've got photographs of me and Wendy and me and Annika as well. They're all in my photo album that I've got. Yeah, that was a nice retirement present. So that's what I'm wearing today. I did get some Doctor Who related stuff, not an awful lot, but I did get some. Oh, and before I forget, on the video before, I was talking about scalpers and B&M sets. Well, lo and behold, about a week later, I managed to walk in the B&M and there were more Doctor Who figures there. I was able to pick up the ones I wanted. So, I think I said in the last one, I picked up the Earthshock John Pertwee and the Raston Warrior Robot and the Cyberman. I've got a normal Cyberman. They didn't have any Cyber Leaders in, so I just picked up the Cyberman. So I picked that up. And I picked up, what was the other one? Oh, the first Doctor's TARDIS, yeah. So at some point I will do another walk around my room because now these things that I've got put up. And I've done a bit of rearranging as well, especially on my shelving, on my bookcases, because they needed rearranging and I wanted all my TARDISes virtually in a line, which I almost did, but I've got 3 newer ones at the front. So yeah, going back to Christmas presents, I got this. I didn't pick it up last year because I didn't like the fact that Jodie was on the front. 13th Doctor, and I still don't like that logo. Can't stand it. But this year, there's no Doctor on the front. She's on the back. But this is so not worth £8. Because when you open it up, there's only 61 pages. There's only 61 pages to this. If I do that, can you see how thin it is? That is really, really thin. Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't pay for it this year. My sister-in-law did. My sister-in-law says she's on the back there, look, in a prisoner outfit. So, yeah, that's what I got. I also got something which I think is a re-release. So I have to remember to drink out the way. And I'm looking forward to reading this one. The Man Behind the Master. The biography of Anthony Ainley. It's funny because I thought it was going to be an autobiography, but it's not. It's just a biography by a lady named Karen Louise Hollis. I don't know if they've got a write-up about Karen Louise Hollis and what. Just going to flick through and see a write up. No, there's nothing on there about Karen herself, so I don't know what other books she's written. Yeah, 2015. This was first published, reprinted in paperback 2017. So this is a few years old, and I'm surprised I haven't seen it before. So I'm looking forward to reading it. To show you again, the man behind the master. Bless him, Tony Ainley. So that's one I'm due to read later. So what else did I get? Apart from the light, that was my main present, really. Got a Christmas cake in a mug. That was interesting. Got a nice T-shirt as well. I'm not wearing it. I've got it hung up now. But yeah, I bought that. So cheers, everyone. Just have a quick drink. Yeah, so my thoughts about this channel moving forward. I've had a chat with my wife, and perhaps in the new year, I might start looking at scripting some proper Doctor Who reviews rather than, I'm just having to think, rather than just kind of doing them off the cuff. Because as you can tell, I'm not very good off script. Let's just say that. When I do things off script, I know I'm not that good. And I'm very keen to have a go. But sometimes I'm not that brilliant. I do turn and say too many times. But that's who I am. So in the new year, when we come back to New Year, I know I've got all this Gucci stuff now. Well, let's start. I'm thinking of starting to use it properly and getting proper scripts done. I'll write out a few scripts, and then I'll do a voiceover with Audacity or whatever voiceover package I can get a hold of. And I'll see how we go from there, and then put a few screenshots up of the figures I have and do a more in-depth review, or do some silent film tape and edit it down. Trouble is, with the computer I have, it's, as I said, my computer's over 10 years old, so I'm not exactly gonna get a lot out of it, really. There's not like exactly a lot you can do with a 10-year-old computer, but we'll see what we can do. And it'll take me a while to make them as well. Unfortunately, I'm not one of these people that can do it bam, bam, bam in 5 minutes. If I'm doing it off the cuff, then yes, maybe it doesn't take me as long. But last time I did the room tour, I used my phone to do the tour. Well, this time I'll use my camera, and we'll see how we get on with that. But at the end of the day, here I am. Um, even though I might have 30 subscribers, I don't have any people that really join me on these chats. I end up talking to myself, to the camera, which I don't mind doing because it gives me a chance to put my thoughts and ideas down. So I see as Noel will put it from the official TARDIS zone, the Jodie bots are at it again, and they're making rubbish up. They're writing hit pieces and opinion pieces in stuff like the Radio Times, and to be quite honest, I'm just not interested. Stuff like that just doesn't interest me. So there's that. That's gone now. So I'm just getting rid of some boxes that keep popping up. So some of the comments I've left on other YouTube videos. That's better. So I watched the whole Flux debacle, and I've seen other people's reviews about it. And I know they're not too keen on it. I wasn't too keen on it. It was a crap script. It was poorly written. Not really a lot of stories in it, and I didn't enjoy it. So yet I'm still watching it, and I'm foolish really because I watch it and I hope there'll be at least one episode where it will be really, really good. Then I'm just waiting for that one good episode. Well, tell a lie, the first episode of Flux was interesting, and the one with the weeping angels in was more like Doctor Who than anything Jim has ever written. That I did enjoy. But my main complaint is that there was too much going on. They crammed too many characters in. Even though they crammed characters in, they didn't give them really a good characterization. So at the beginning, you think that Dan was going to be a really good character. I thought John Bishop in that first episode did a cracking job, and all of a sudden at the end of it, he was just nothing. They fizzled him out. They wrote him as a bit of an idiot halfway through, and then at the end, his character just fizzled away. And as for him at the end with what happened with Diane, I thought that was pretty lame, really. She wouldn't even take a chance on him, because he missed that date. And the reason he missed that date is because he was whisked off to somewhere else, wasn't he? So, he was kidnapped by the Corvinista. Anyway, I didn't really enjoy the series. I've not enjoyed Jodie's run at all. I'll be glad when she's gone. She's not she's not Doctor material. She's not, her acting caliber was pretty lame. She just didn't really come across as a doctor. What they should have done is just kept her with one. Did a Christopher Eccleston on her as soon as it started dropping off for one series, rather than giving her a second series, just turn and say, sorry, Jodie, you didn't fit the part. You're not doing any research. You're not really interested in the role. You just come in and doing what you need to do and going over every night, and we'll give you the money and pay you up to the end of this series, and then we'll look for someone else. Giving it a bit of a rest. That's what I would have done. But hey ho, that's what comes when you have a idiot for a show writer, and I won't say idiot for an actress, but because that'll be too rude, But no, well. Roll on to either the Daleks or whatever rubbish it's called. The problem is, how many festive episodes do we need to have with the Daleks in? Which is getting a bit of a binder now. Surely Sony can come up and get hold of the Nation Estate and come up with a reasonable contract where they're not having to be used every flaming series, because the contract when they first did it was that the Daleks were to appear at least once in every series. And no, they don't need to be. They've been overused now. They've overused them, and now they're just boring. There's no fire in them anymore. They used to be. I know the shows and the episodes weren't supposed to be binge watched, but some of the performance they gave were quite scary in the earlier series, but now it's just they're just there, and they try and destroy the earth, and they get thwarted, probably with a sonic screwdriver. I don't know. I've really gone past caring at the moment of Doctor Who. Yeah. So that, with regards to Christmas, that was it. That was the main presents I had. Didn't get really anything else. Oh, I got a nice, as I said, I got a nice T-shirt that's hung up by the sister-in-law. That was nice of her. Yeah, as I said, I will start scripting some reviews, because all the time I don't mind my face appearing on screen, but this is about the 5th time I've done a YouTube live stream, and I've had no views. Well, I've had 20 odd views, but no one's come and joined me or posted me a comment, which is a shame, really. So the next thing I want to talk about, change the subject, is PTSD again. Luckily for me, I've been doing okay. I've got to the position where I'd be at work, and then every time I got to a certain stage where I just get not bored but annoyed. I think this is part of my PTSD. I just get annoyed with things, and time sort of, as long as I'm doing stuff, time flows quickly, as we all know. Time goes quicker when you've got things to do. But when you're walking around just pulling things forward and making sure they look smart and tidy, it does get tedious, and your mind starts wandering. And then you're doing things just to pass the time. And then when the time comes, you just can't wait to get out of there, which isn't the way it should be. You should be able to enjoy your job and live it to the full and be happy. But at the moment, no, I'm not happy. I think everybody's in a situation where they're not happy with their work. It's just a thing where you just turn up and you just earn your money and then go home every night. And then it's the same thing the following day. So every day turns out to be Groundhog Day, really. And there's no change, which is sad, really, because we should be able to enjoy ourselves. You know, we should. I don't mean muck around during work, and I don't mean spend all your time talking to your colleagues when there's customers wanting help. Um, but we should be allowed to but we should be allowed to enjoy it. You know, because unfortunately at the moment, it makes you think this is all there is, basically, isn't it? We live to work, and it's not right. And unfortunately, life does get you down. If you think about it too much, it just it gets you down. It wears you down. You know. I'm lucky I spent a bit of time on YouTube today, watching videos to keep me occupied because, as I said to the wife, I refuse to watch the BBC. I know she pays the £169 TV license, £159 TV license. I don't know why, because like this year, a third of their programs on over Christmas is all repeats. Don't understand. Don't understand what they're doing. They're taking our money and they're just giving us repeats. Nothing new. So it makes you wonder why you're bothering, you know. But all this is part of PTSD as well. It's the fact that, I get I do get low. It's not total depression. Don't get me wrong. It's not. Um, it just makes you think a bit and wonder what the hell's the point, you know. Um, yeah. Plus the fact it does get a bit disheartening when all your friends that you joined up with, the majority of my friends that I joined up with, all left as senior NCOs. So they are on a higher pension rate than I am, and which is why I've needed to take on a lower. Well, I'm on a lower paid, lower wage job anyway, because that's all they seem to think I'm good at doing. You know, they don't actually see a lot of these companies that I've worked for don't see the potential that I have, and they don't seem to realise the skills that I have. Even though you write them down in your CV when you apply for jobs, you let them know what you did, and you're a leader and an organizer, and they're not interested. So, yeah, the pension that I got, even though it's a full military pension, it's well, I wouldn't be able to survive on it for starters for a month each month, which is why I had to take on another job. And unfortunately, because I had PTSD, I've gone from the two jobs I had before, full time, back to part time, because the stress was just ridiculous and just broke me basically. And I think a lot of people are suffering with mental health problems now. It's not just PTSD that people suffer. This whole business with this lockdown has had a major effect on people's mental health, and the government are not interested. They don't give two flying F's about how you are. As long as you're paying your taxes, as long as you're paying your pay as you earn and your national health insurance. Well, that's another thing that winds me up as well. But I'm not going political. I'm not using this channel to air my political dirty laundry, because this is not what this channel is about. This channel is about people getting together who have had PTSD or are still suffering with it, and have taken up a hobby like I have. So as I said, I decided to start collecting whilst I was working in a warehouse at B&M. I could talk about B&M now, as I don't work there anymore. And the character options start producing Doctor Who exclusively for B&M, because they used to be in Toys R Us. They used to have a really posh display area for when I was at Portsmouth. I used to go to the local Toys R Us, and they'd have like a little archway you'd go through, and as you go through it, the whole display inside would be every single Doctor Who figure that was out, with the K9, Radio Control K9, with the time gun. I don't know if I probably can't get hold of it in the moment, but they brought out this time gun. Whether or not they were going to use it for an episode, I have no idea. But it's a weird looking thing, and they just never bothered using it. Character Options produced it, and they never used it in any of these series, which is a bit of a downer. But yeah, as I said, that they did the albums and the figures, and they experimented with the 12-inch range, and then they experimented again with the 3.75 range, which was a bit of a miss. Quite a few people. Yeah. And the fact that I used some of the groups that I'm in, I'm able to chat like this, and we talk about not just Doctor Who. I belong to Retro Blasting and Analog Toys, and I watch their videos on new and old action figures of the 70s and 80s, and new ranges that have come out within the past 10 years or so that they've started collecting, which really prompted me to buy Skeletor and He-Man, because they're figures that I can vaguely remember having when I was younger. And then I watched David Toy Polloi for repairing tips. So if I have any figures that break or things that need repairing, I just look at one of his videos, and it is a good guide as to how to do it. So this coming year, I've got a few projects that I need to do in the house as well. I've got to replace the flooring in our bedroom, because by the side of my bed there's a massive dip there, where the wood's just gone, and if I'm not careful, my foot will go through the ceiling, which I don't really want to happen. At the moment, when I go to the toilet at night, I have to walk on the joists. I can tell it's a joist because it's a 2x4 bit. It's quite thick, and I'm walking along that sideways. so I can get to the bathroom for my nightly ablutions before going back to bed. What I need to do next year is tip the bed up, make sure I clear the bedroom, tip the bed up, and literally rip the carpet off, rip all the skirting board out, and basically replace it. So replace it with a new skirting board and new boards, and I might put more braces in because these houses weren't built very well. They didn't have many braces in at all. So I've got to replace that. And I bought, changing the subject a quick minute. In my workplace, they had a 20% discount, or 25%, I think, off of Black and Nickel workmates. So I was able to pick one of them up, and I get 20% discount as well, naturally. So with that, as well as the 25% off, it was almost half price. So I picked up a Black and Nickel workmate for about 30 quid, whereas normally you'd be about 60. So that was good going. And I picked up a jigsaw as well for not much money. So that was handy. So I can use them when I get the chipboard, the new chipboard to go down. So it's going to have to be hardwood chipboard like material, because MDF is useless. And basically they don't do normal flooring anymore. They do the sliding chipboard, but apparently that's just for lofts. It's not for normal flooring, so you couldn't walk on it. Because then again, tongue and groove. That's it, tongue and groove flooring. No, it'd be no use. So once I've replaced the flooring, that'll be one of the jobs done. I've still got jobs that I need to do that I should have done last year that I didn't get a chance to do, which was repaint the 2 doors downstairs. They need to be resatin wooded, because when you open the door, you can see the cream coming through. So I need to redo them again, which shouldn't take me too long. And then I'm going to have a go next year at trying to do the bathroom. That's going to be a challenge and a half, because I'm no plumber and I can't afford to make any mistakes. Can't afford to have leaks, because if I have any leaks, that'll be the end of the ceiling. And even though we've got house insurance, they won't pay out, because it'd be our fault we did it, you know. To get a walk-in shower, the my wife wants for the bathroom would cost, when it costed up before, and it was about £6,500. No way we got that money. I mean, we're going to struggle after Christmas paying the car off, because our car, as I said, is over 20 years old, and it needs a new timing belt. It's got the stage where it needs new timing belt, new water pump, and you're looking at least £1,000 for that, because they've got to strip the engine back to get to the timing belt, or lift the engine up to get to the timing belt. So that will need doing. So I'm hoping that my credit card will be nice, play nice for me. If not, I'll be in trouble. But never mind. It's just one of them things that need doing. Luckily, I've got a huge, quite considerable overdraft that I can use as well. So when I was in the armed forces, they were too keen to give me a nice overdraft, you know. So we'll have to see. Either way, this needs doing. It needs to be done. So does drinking affect my PTSD? No, because I don't drink an awful lot. Don't get me wrong, I like my Captain Morgans, but I do not drink to get totally smashed. I can take it or leave it. I mean, I've gone through months without even having a drink at all. I can't remember the last time I even bought myself a bottle of Captain Morgans and Coke. June, July. So I only bought it to celebrate Christmas with and the New Year in. And then if it turns out I'm working both New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and I'll tell you what, how they get away with it is criminal. We don't even get any overtime. Well, you do get overtime, but it's not. It's just your normal wage. You don't get any more than that. For some strange reason. So, as I said, next year I'll start scripting some proper episodes of this. Because I'm not doing it, as I said, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this as another extension. Well, I'm just looking at this as an extension of my hobby. The fact that I collect Doctor Who figures and Doctor Who memorabilia, shall we say, just memorabilia, and the fact that I can discuss it with you and have a chat about everyday things in my life as well going on. And I'm sure everybody else is suffering, the same as that's the way I think. Everybody else is suffering the same way. I wouldn't say they're suffering the same way, but they've got their own separate problems, So as I said, this tonight is just going to be used for a little chin wag, to have a drink and act like I'm in a pub. We'll be speaking to somebody in the bar, So, if you don't mind me, I'm going to pull myself another one. I'll cover the thing up. This is very nice stuff when you mix it with Coke. It's not very nice when you drink it straight. Don't do it, kids, because it tastes awful. And it gives out the burning feeling down. I mean, it's like these people that drink straight whiskey. Ugh. Thing is with me and whiskey is that whiskey makes me nasty as well. You get the situation where you can be quite nasty when you have certain spirits. Well, whiskey does that to me. As somebody that I used to go out with found out, but not violent, it makes me just a nasty person. But then again, ladies, this is one for you. If you're going to ditch your person with you that you're with at the time, try and have the courage to do it face to face. Don't ditch the person by mobile phone or text message, because it don't work. Because you'll probably end up getting worse than what you get back. You'll probably get back worse than what you give out, if you know what I mean. So in about 26 days, it's my birthday, and I'm 47, and I'm feeling every year of my age. At the moment, I feel every age of my being 46. because the arthritis that I got whilst in the mob, and having no cartilage really doesn't help, you know. And I know, yes, I know people are going to bang on about my weight issues. I'm not interested in that because I know I'm trying, and I know I'm virtually on the move all the time when I'm at work, so I don't sit still. And I go for a break and get 50. I could do a 6-hour shift and have a 15-minute break, but still be on the move, still lifting heavy equipment. Could be lifting bookcases, barbecues, tables, you name it, I'm lifting it. So there we go. So I've talked a bit about PTSD now. Seen my videos previously if you want to know the treatment that I had. I've read a few reports now saying that the process is becoming more and more successful now. More and more people with PTSD are choosing the EMDR method, and it's helping them an awful lot. So I would recommend that to try that first for taking the funny pills, any antidepressant. Try the EMDR therapy first. It's hard work, and it could take you a couple of years to get through it, but it does work. I was lucky in this case; it only took me 6 months, but then it's because I've devoted my energy into it, because I believed it. I believed in the treatment, so I did everything I was asked to do. Kept a planner, stayed off the drink, and basically wrote down all my feelings, everything I felt at the time, of every feeling that I had went down in that planner, and I'm glad I did it in a way. I might start it back up again in the new year because there are still things going on in my life which have affected me a little bit. It's the old saying, you can always get on with your friends, but you can never always get on with your family. And yeah, I don't want to say any more about that, but it's very true what they say. You know, you can always you can always find friends, and you can always. It's always easy to cut off ties with friends than what it is to cut off ties with family. You know, but yeah. So I've talked about, as I said before, I've talked about a bit about PTSD. I've talked about the treatment. I've talked about the fact I think it works. I have a situation at nights now where I have to have my fan on full blast because I'm living next door to elderly people on both sides. So they keep putting their radiators on and the heating on every night, and hot air rises. And so our bedroom is like living in Florida. And it happens on a nightly basis. So when I go upstairs to bed, I'm virtually laying in the bed with a 0.5 toggle sleep, 0.5 not blanket, quilt, continent quilt, and in a barnacle buff because it's so hot up there. And as I said, I have the fan on full blast as well. So when I wake up, you're not supposed to do that because it can leave you with headaches in the morning. So sometimes I wake up with a massive headache, which I need to take paracetamol for. So, you know. So it happened to me on Christmas Eve. After gone to Tesco and bought the stuff we needed for Christmas Day, I went to bed about 1 o'clock Christmas Day morning, and I was up at 4. No, this was happening Christmas Eve. Sorry, not Christmas Day. So Christmas Eve. I went to bed about 1, and I was up again at about 3 because, as I said, the neighbours had the heating on, and just, oh my God, couldn't sleep at all. So the heat, yeah, as I said, it was bollocky buff in bed, and just couldn't sleep. Just couldn't drop off. My brain wouldn't allow me to. So at the end of the day, I had to come downstairs, and it was a pain in the backside because I had to work at 9 o'clock that morning. Because usually I'm on shift work, so I don't I don't always start work first thing in the morning. Sometimes I don't even go until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm working till 7. I have been for the past couple of weeks, and then tomorrow I'm working from 12 till 6. So yeah, I'm like a varied shift pattern. Well, I can't even call it a shift pattern, really, can you? Because it's just not a pattern. It keeps changing all the time, you know. So I basically end up being their lapdog and going in whenever they want. Hello, Ty Joss. How are you? Hope you're well from Bhutan. Jesus, that's a hell of a way away. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so as I say, my shift pattern's changed. Don't normally. They can change. 1 minute I could be working 9 in the morning. Next minute I'm working at 3 in the afternoon. Cheers, Ty Joss. Hope you're well. That's my very, very first person coming in to say hello, which is cool. So I've gone through and shown you some Doctor Who bits. And as I said, I don't like this era of Doctor Who. It's changed beyond all recognition. I'm hoping that Russell T Davies can do something with it, because he's got a hell of a job now to bring back all us original fans that have just dropped the series and dropped everything, you know. And it's a shame. It's a shame, because it's a lot of people's beloved shows. They grew up with it. I grew up with it I was born in 1975, so I was aware of it 79, 80, just at the time where Tom Baker was changing over. So I still remember Tom Baker as the Doctor. Used to hide behind the sofa when the Daleks turn up, because, as what a lot of people don't probably realise, is that the furniture and the sofas then, compared to what was now, the sofas then, I mean, we had fake leather sofas which had an arch back. So if you just fell on a finger, they'd have a curve like that. The back would have a curve. Um, that way. Which way? I'm going this way. So it would have a curve like that. Like that. So you'd be able to hide behind the sofa and the wall. that little gap, that tiny little gap you could crawl into. And I used to do that for Doctor Who when the Daleks were on. And when the Incredible Hulk was on, I used to just go outside the door and then have that little gap open and peer through the gap at the Incredible Hulk. Because I used to hate him changing. When Bill Bixby changed into Lou Ferrigno, oh, blimey. That scared the living pants out of me. I think it was later on. When you get older, it becomes funny because you know it's Lou Ferrigno in like XL clothes, and you can just go whoosh to rip them. But at the time, you don't realise. You think it's real because your mind plays games, and you believe what you think about, what you believe. As a kid, your reality, like when you believe in Santa Claus, you believe it's true. When you're innocent, let's put it like that. When you're younger, you are an innocent child. You start to you believe the things that your parents tell you because your parents are always right. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it's sort of it's like the Polar Express effect with him with the bell. When you get older, when you start ringing the bell sort of stops ringing, and you can't hear the jingle bells anymore. So yeah. Bhutan, India. My God. That's a hell of a way away. My first foreign commentator. Yeah. Oh, things were a lot easier when we were younger, eh? Things were a lot easier when you were a kid. You don't have to deal with all this stuff, all of this mess. Yeah. But as I said to Dean, all things 80s. There's another cracking channel. If you want to follow him, please feel free to follow him. Part of the treatment for EMDR is, and I don't know if it's the norm, but it's happened to me, is that I've lost a lot of childhood memories. A lot of my memories of childhood, I can't remember. Now, I don't want to go into detail as to how strict my dad was when I was younger, but I was a bit of a nightmare child. He keeps telling me that. He keeps saying I was a little monkey, but not in those words. And he's telling me stories of when my mum and dad got married. They were given a carriage clock with underneath the clock there was like the the ticker, the pendulum. Well, it was on a pendulum. It was a rod, and there were little balls attached to the rod, and it used to spin, and then it used to spin round the other way. Yeah, so they used to be on like a metal tray, and it used to spin. Well, he was telling me that they came home one day to find it in pieces because I went and took it apart, and it never worked properly ever again. I can't remember that. I can't remember the fact that I used to travel in my uncle's car, or my granddad's car, and he had a sports car at the time, and he took me for a drive, and he turned me back saying never again, because apparently I used to press all the buttons on the dashboard. I can't remember that. Um, I have memories from my time being in the serviceman. Some memories when I was 16. And when I came home one weekend, I think I had a long weekend, and I spent it with my granddad, who's no longer with us. And I was about 17, 18 at the time. And he said to me, Carl, he said, whatever happens, you're not to call me granddad in the pub. You're to call me Alec. Okay. This was years after his wife had died. My grandma passed away. And he was in his 70s, I think, my granddad. He'd been a roofer all his life. So he was blimmin' fit. He could carry he could carry roofing tiles on his head. You know, he had one of them hod things, and he used to carry that up and down ladders. So he was a very, very fit man, especially in his 70s, because he didn't retire until he was in his 60s, because he was still roofing at 60s. So he said to me one day, you know, when I went and stayed with him for a weekend, he said, Carl, he said, when we go to the pub, he said, my name's not Grandad, it's Alec, all right? So, all right, Grandad. So we went off to the local pub. I can tell you where it is because you don't know. He's passed away now. It was a little village just outside of Portsmouth in Hampshire called Clanfield. And he took me to the pub one night, and we were having a few drinks, and he was playing. I think he played darts with his mates. I'm not sure whether they had a pub team, and I was just there as a spectator. And a lot of young, attractive women came into the pub, and I know I was single at the time. I wasn't married or anything. You never had a girlfriend at the time, and they were all hanging around him, which shocked me. You know, these weren't young, as in teenage girls. No, these were girls in their 20s, definitely. But he had the gift of the gab. My granddad did, and he could have a girl on each arm. You know, because my granddad used to be a joker, and he was a bit of a comedian. He used to be able to make me laugh and tell all these dirty jokes, because he was ex Remy, and he was in the war, and he knew a lot of jokes from the war, and he could tell a lot of dirty jokes. He used to belong, him and Menan, he used to belong to a social club, and he'd pick up all these jokes from a social club. And he'd come back and, now here's a memory they used to come round every so often on a Saturday, and my granddad would spend the whole time there just telling jokes. And that's all he used to do, you know. Yeah, so that was an enjoyable time. I miss my granddad very much, Lee. My granddad would never ever pass any comment. He would never ever judge anybody or have anything to say about anybody unless he was asked. And even then, he was very careful about what he said and how he said it. He would never just spout off. He'd have a think, and then he'd reply back to you. Because my granddad was one of the best, I'll tell you it now. And he always had a word of wisdom to say, but it would never give it unless you asked him for it. So until you asked him for his advice, he would never give you any advice. He would only give you advice if you asked for it. And you never know, perhaps that's the way I should be, where I don't give people advice and tell them how to live their lives until they ask me. Then I'll tell them. And he'd tell you what you think of you as well. In a nice way. He'd never be rude, my granddad. And to tell you another little secret, he wasn't my real granddad, he was my step granddad. Because my real granddad is a Frenchman. And I've never had any contact with him or his extended family. I don't even know who he is. My mother doesn't talk a lot about him because he upped and left my mother at a young age. And as I said, Alec, God bless him, was my step-grandfather. Because my real grandfather is a Frenchman. Yeah, that's something you didn't know. So I have a bit of French in me. Who knew? So we've talked about quite a few things now. And let's see what the time is. Oh, it's only 8:10. But yeah, as I say, I'm back to work again tomorrow. It's not been a barrel of laughs, but there you go. You know what they say, that song in it, things can only get better. And let's hope it does. Right, I suppose I better call that a night. I've been talking for about an hour. It was nice to see Ty Joss in from Bhutan. So I hope you catch up on the reruns. And I hope you found this semi-entertaining, but I just wanted to see if anybody was going to join me this time. And I'm going to keep trying. I'm not giving up. I'll just keep trying. Because one day I might come out with something that interests some people. And, yeah. So what I'm going to do now before I go is raise my glass. I say cheers. And have a safe new year. And a happy one. And that was my dad's microphone. So see you later.